नहमदुहु व नसल्ली अला रसूलिहिल करीम अम्मा बाद अस्सलामु अलैकुम व रहमतुल्लाहि व बरकातुहू. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hope all of you have received my messages and strictly follow the instructions given in the messages. Now today we are taking the closing part of boilers, the lecture 4, and with this chapter we are closing. Today we will be talking about Babcock and Wilcox boiler. Then again we will talk about the boiler mountings and accessories. With that we will be finishing the boilers chapter. Then we will be starting the hydraulic turbines. This is a water tube boiler where the pressure may be obtained about 40. Babcock and Wilcox boiler is a water tube boiler. That means water is being circulated inside the tubes. These are the water tubes. Inside these tubes, the water is being circulated, whereas the fire or the flue gases passes over the tubes, and hence it exchanges heat from the water tube walls to the water in order to generate the steam. And it is a boiler where the moderate pressure can be obtained nearly up to 40 bar. And the rate of steam generation will be about 40,000 kg per hour. That means a large quantity of steam that can be generated by using a Babcock and Wilcox boiler. Therefore, as the rate of generation of steam is high, these boilers can be used in thermal power stations. Now, in these boilers, there will be less sedimentation because of the gases of combustion will be passing over the tube walls, as the fire is not passing inside the tubes. Of course, the water that can be used through the tubes cannot be the ordinary water. It's supposed to be a treated water, so that they are supposed not to be scaling inside the water tubes. Otherwise, it will become very difficult to have the cleaning of falling that occurs. Now, in this water tube boiler, this is externally fired, as it is the water tube boiler. That one idea what I have given to you. Whenever the water tube boilers are there, the furnace can be put outside the boiler. Whenever the fire tube boilers are there, then the fire will be generated within the boiler tubes. Therefore, the internally fired boilers those are. Therefore, this idea always you can put whenever you are writing about the water tube boilers. You can say that the furnace is outside of the boiler. This is what furnace in the form of chain grate stroker and the hopper that will be supplying the coal, and here the fire is generated. It is outside of the boiler. Therefore, it is externally fired. It is water tube boiler. Okay, and again there is no pumping used for water circulation. There is natural circulation of the water. As you can see, the downtake header is there. Here automatically, due to gravity, the water is entering into this header, then fills the tubes, and then it will take steam into the drum from here, this uptake header. Now, therefore, what we can say is, this is natural circulation boiler. it is externally fired boiler, it is a water tube boiler. Okay, how can you define this? Is what is a Babcock and Wilcox boiler? It is a water tube boiler. It is externally fired. The furnace is put outside of the boiler, and it is natural circulation boiler. And the tubes are put inclined in order to have the natural circulation. Therefore, this boiler, we can say it as an inclined tube boiler. The orientation, that's what we can say. Whereas the boiler drum, the water and steam drum, that will be put horizontal only. Okay. Now, are you able to understand? Therefore, the classification, under the classification what is given, that you can see wherever the example is given for Babcock and Wilcox boiler as an example of various classifications, therefrom also you can take it. Water tube boiler, under that the example was given, Babcock and Wilcox boiler. Okay, externally fired, Babcock and Wilcox boiler. Okay, natural circulation, Babcock and Wilcox boiler. Like that, from that classification also you can have this definition, and you can define what is a Babcock and Wilcox boiler. Okay, and inclined tube boiler, there also again Babcock and Wilcox boiler was an example in that classification also. Therefore, the idea, whenever we make the classification, then defining a particular type of boiler from the classification, those examples we can take down, and this way we can present what type of boiler it is. Of course, it is producing steam very quickly, and whenever these water tube boilers are there, the quick generation of steam is possible. Therefore, and another thing is, it gives the pressure up to 40 bar, and whenever higher pressures are required to be generated, then the feed pumping can also be done, that can be provided separately, but here natural circulation is given. Okay. Now other thing is the rate of generation of steam, that is very high enough, that is 40,000 kg per hour. 40,000 kg per hour. That is a good quantity of steam that could be produced by a Babcock and Wilcox boiler. 40,000 kg per hour. Nearly. This is what a Babcock and Wilcox boiler. Now, the construction we can see, mainly it can be divided into four important parts. Those are steam and water drum. This is water, the steam and water drum. Half of this water drum can be filled up with the feed water, and the remaining space is left for collection of the steam. Steam space, this is given here. Okay. Then water tubes, these are the inclined water tubes. By downtake header, the water enters these tubes into this header from the water drum, and therefrom it will be entering into these tubes. Then we can show, of course, uptake header we can show like this. And directly steam can be given into that steam space. Okay. Okay. Is it clear to all of you? The inclined water tubes. That means inside the water tubes, the water is being circulated. Therefore, it is called water tube boiler. Here, inside of these tubes, water is being circulated in order to take the heat from the flue gases passing over the tubes and generate the steam. Is it clear? Then, the third is the furnace, which is put outside of the boiler. This is the furnace, and this is your chain grate stroker, and on that the coal will be poured by a pumper, and this coal is burned and flue gases generated, and these flue gases so evolved are passing over the tubes. Now, to have many passes, there are baffles provided that we will talk afterwards. Anyhow, then the fourth part is the superheater. That means by using this Babcock and Wilcox boiler, the superheated steam can also be generated. For that purpose, the superheater is provided. That means steam from this steam space is taken into a separate steam superheater. That means this steam will be entering into this one, and this is a double tube, and superheated steam that will go into this tube, and from the stop valve, by opening this stop valve, it can be supplied or collected into the steam drums, or it can be supplied to the application side. Okay, that is the superheater. These are the four major parts. Here the construction, you can see the boiler drum and this furnace grate. The chain grate stroker is provided, and it can be taken out and can be moved in. Once we fire it, then the flue gases of combustion to be directed to pass over the tubes. Therefore, it can be moved in, and again the hopper, whenever required, the coal to be poured on it, it will be used. The hopper is used to pour the coal over the grates. Okay. Now, the another part is here. There is a damper. Whenever we need the steam to the fire to be supplied to the water to control the steam generated, then this damper can be operated. Therefore, in order to decrease the pressure inside the boiler drum, that means if the pressure of the steam is increasing beyond the desired pressure, then by means of this pressure gauge, this damper will be operated, and that will be moving out, and hence the gases of combustion, by the different part of opening, the more or less gases can be passed out through this damper movement, and hence the pressure of the steam that is generated can be controlled. Okay, is it clear to all of you? Now, this boiler drum is mounted upon by various mountings, like safety valve is there, stop valve is there, and the water level indicator is there, pressure gauge is there. That means these are the safety mountings, and by using these mountings, we can have the safe working of the boiler, so that time to time the pressure gauge will be reading the pressure of the steam inside the boiler, and when it is exceeding, then automatically it will be operating the damper, and by the movement of the damper, the steam pressure inside the boiler drum can be controlled. Okay. Now, safety valve, whenever the steam pressure inside the boiler drum exceeding, then it will be giving the alarms. Generally, the different types of safety valves are very often used are deadweight safety valve or spring loaded safety valve. Deadweight safety valve or spring loaded safety valve. Are you able to understand? These are the types of safety valves. Any one safety valve will be used, and it will be giving the alarms also, and it will get open, and some of the steam will be passed out, so that the pressure of this steam within the drum should not exceed the designed pressure. Okay. Whereas the stop valve is a mounting wherefrom the steam will be supplied to the application side. Now, this is also mounted upon by a water level indicator. That means if the water level inside the boiler drum goes below the required level, then immediately the feed water is required to be supplied through the feed valve. Therefore, this feed valve will be operated, and water will be supplied into the boiler drum in order to maintain the required water level within the this boiler drum. Okay. These are the various mountings provided here. Okay. Is it clear to all of you? How it is constructed? A horizontal drum containing water, also the steam space in that. Okay. And inclined tubes with the two headers. That is downtake header and the uptake header. Then a furnace, that is chain grate stroker, on which by a hopper the coal will be poured onto it, and the damper and various mountings. This is what the total construction of a Babcock and Wilcox boiler. Now the operation of this Babcock and Wilcox boiler, we can see whenever the steam is required to be generated or we would like to start this boiler, then the coal will be poured by the hopper over the chain grate stroker and it will be fired and gases of combustion will be evolved. And before that only, this water drum, the boiler drum will be filled up by the water nearly half of its level, and water, definitely the water through the downtake header, it will enter into the tubes and fill up both downtake header as well as the uptake header, and it will remain filled up. Now as these gases are passing over these tubes, then it will be exchanging its heat with the water through the walls of the tube. Okay. What you have to do is, whenever you would like to explain a Babcock and Wilcox boiler, then what is required is, you are supposed to draw a very neat figure as you are seeing here. Okay. And in this you have to show very clearly passing of gases of combustion as it is shown by these arrows. How it is making turnings here, actually by providing these baffles. These are the baffles. The bunch of tubes are connected between the two headers, downtake header and uptake header. These bunch of tubes are also passing through these baffles. These baffles are provided so that these gases of combustion can be made to pass over these tubes and thrice here by means of these two baffles are put. If more number of baffles are there, many passes can be obtained. That means you know what is happening. As these gases are passing over the tubes once, then heat exchange will be within that time as these gases are passing over the tube. Okay. If again they are made to pass over the tube, then again heat exchange will take place. Further passing over the tube, then further heat exchange will take place. In order to improve the efficiency of heat exchange, what we can do is, we can provide these baffles and direct these gases of combustion, try to understand it, and direct these gases of combustion to pass over the tubes with many passes. Otherwise, if these baffles will be removed, okay, then what happens? These gases of combustion will enter here and just pass out like this. Is not? Therefore, by putting these baffles, what is happening? All these gases of combustion are passing over these tubes here. Then all these gases of combustion, because here this baffle is not allowing to pass these gases this side. Then again they will be directed like this. Another baffle is there, therefore it will be make a turn this way, and all these gases will be passing over the tubes here in this direction. Then again they will get a direction here, therefore these gases of combustion will be passing over the tubes once again, and then they will be directed towards the exit. Is it clear to you? Then to the chimney, and through the chimney into the space. The means of this jumper, it will be directed to stack of the chimney by movement of this jumper, or then it will be taken into the chimney and into the atmosphere higher chimney, so that the pollution, there should not be much air pollution into the atmosphere. Okay. There are two purposes of the chimney. We are not discussing that purposes of the chimney, that is to generate the head and also to avoid the pollution. Anyhow, as this is connected to the chimney, therefore here low pressure is generated. As there is a low pressure from atmospheric pressure to the low pressure side, automatically these gases of combustion will be flowing out. Therefore, by movement of this damper, the part to part movement of this damper, whatever the quantity of these gases you would like to allow into the chimney, that part, that much can be allowed by operating this damper, and that will also be connected with the pressure gauge if pressure exceeds in the boiler drum, pressure of the steam, and you would like to control these gases of combustion, then the damper movement can be changed. Okay, is it clear to you how it is working? Then what is happening as this water is taken from the intake header, then when it will be taking exchanging heat to here with the lower temperature of these gases of combustion, then a little higher temperature of gases of combustion, again exchanging heat here, and further exchanging of heat here by the flame, that will be converted into its steam, and whatever steam is generated here, that will be through the uptake header, it will be taken into the steam space. Now what is happening? Here, if we would like to have the superheated steam, then the steam from this steam space will be allowed to enter into the superheater. And this is a superheater. Now this steam is entering here, and as it is entering, this is double tube here, double tube passing into this, that's this. Okay. And this way. This steam enters here and passing over here and again goes out from this double tubular, the angular space, and then into this stop wall, and from there it will be connected to the application side. Now as this steam is passing over here, any water particles suspended into that, because this will be a wet steam which is collected over the water. Therefore, this will be containing certain water particles suspended in it, and that will also be converted into steam here when it is passing through the superheater, and further rise of temperature will also be taking place as these gases are also passing over these superheater tubes. Then superheated steam will be supplied. Therefore, this Babcock and Wilcox boiler is a boiler which can give the superheated steam. Quality of steam could be a superheated steam, and the moderate pressure can be attained nearly at 40 bar. Okay, and the rate of steam that can be generated is nearly about 40,000 kg per hour, and it is quick steam generating boiler. In very short time, it can generate the steam and give the fulfill the required demand. Therefore, Babcock Wilcox boilers will also be used in the thermal power stations. Is it clear to all of you? The construction of a Babcock Wilcox boiler, it is four different parts, and its operation and steam generation and superheated steam supply to the application side. Is it clear? The various mountings on it, that also you understood. Therefore, whenever I am asking you again and again, whether you are explaining the Lancashire boiler or you are explaining the Babcock and Wilcox boiler, you give a very clear sketch and explain with the help of the sketch the construction as well as its working. The different parts you will explain very clearly. That will help you to give very clear idea to anybody. Okay. Now, after knowing this, only these are the two boilers which you are supposed to study under this section. Now, time to time we were talking about the boiler mountings and boiler accessories, etc. As this superheater is an accessory, because it is required to produce the superheated steam, to have certain quality of steam. Okay. Therefore, first let us take down simply about what are the boiler mountings and accessories. Is it clear to you? Babcock and Wilcox boiler. Okay. Now, let us see about the boiler mountings and accessories. And boiler accessories. First, you try to understand what are boiler mountings and what are boiler accessories. Why these are required? Why these are required? Boiler mountings are those equipment which are equipment or devices which are mounted on the boiler for safe working of the boiler. Without that, the safety of boiler is in danger. Those are the boiler mountings. Okay. What are the boiler accessories? Boiler accessories are those equipment or the devices which will be connected to a boiler in order to improve the efficiency, of the boiler or the quality of steam. Okay. Is it clear to you? For safe working, boiler mountings are essential. These are extras to improve the efficiency, also to improve the quality of steam. Clear? Now, what are the boiler mountings, various mountings, etc.? Just now here itself we have talked about, without which the safe working of the boiler is in danger. Pressure gauge. Water level indicator. Feed valve. Etc. Basically, you figure out, you can understand what are the various boiler mountings without which the safe working is in danger. Okay. The stop valve, etc. Those are also required, because without that the steam cannot be supplied to the application side. These can also be taken. Boiler accessories you can take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 like this. Here again you can take down. One thing superheater you have seen, that is boiler accessories. Economizer, there is feed water preheater, that is actually economizer. Air preheater. Okay. And you can take down a feed pump also. If you would like to improve the pressure of the steam to be supplied, that means for the quality side only, feed pump. Water mountings, water boiler accessories you understood. Now example of these are safety valve, pressure gauge, water level indicator, feed valve, stop valve, etc. Now, these are very essential for safe working of a boiler. These are required to improve the efficiency or quality of steam to be supplied. Okay. There are many other, etc. you can say, etc. Okay. What is a safety valve? Safety valve is a valve that is provided on the top of a boiler drum, connected with the steam space. Whenever the pressure reaches the safe pressure, then it gives alarm, and when this pressure exceeds, this safety valve opens in order to give out some of the steam to reduce the pressure inside the boiler drum. Sometimes one more thing what could be used is fusible plug. The difference between these two I would like to talk. What different types of safety valves are there? Dead weight safety valve, spring loaded safety valve, etc. Due to the weight, the self weight of the valve, it will be moving down by gravity and closing its outlet. As the pressure inside increases, it will move up that cap and the steam will go out from its exit and steam inside the drum is reduced. Spring loaded, the load, the weight which causes to keep it close is because of the spring load restoring force of the spring, and when this pressure inside increases beyond the restoring force of the spring, it will open and some steam will pass out from this. Then why the fusible plug? What is the fusible plug? Fusible plug is a low melting point metallic device, and this will be closed when the temperature inside the boiler drum and the pressure exceeds and it will move to the danger zone. Then this metal will get melted and the whole steam inside the boiler drum goes out through this opening in order to avoid the explosion of the bursting of the boiler drum. Our safety is taken into care. Did you follow? समझ में आई ना बात? तो समझ में आ रही ना? यानी कि टेम्परेचर बियॉन्ड एक्सीड हो गया अगर तो बॉयलर ड्रम एक्सप्लोड हो सकता है, ये बस्ट हो सकता है, और प्रेशर भी हाई एनफ हो गया। तो वैसी सूरत में ये क्या होता है, लो मेल्टिंग पॉइंट फ्यूजिबल प्लग होता है, ये मेल्ट होकर ज़्यादा स्पीडीली स्टीम को बाहर से, whereas the safety valve can leave the steam at a lower rate. Is it not, sir? Is it clear to you? Both are for the safety purpose of the boiler drum. Okay. The pressure gauge. Pressure gauge is meant for measuring the pressure of steam inside the boiler drum. Now, time to time, this pressure measurement is very essential. It will be continuously monitored, and wherever this reaches the safe pressure limits, then automatically the damper will release the gases of combustion fastly, so that the pressure of steam within the boiler drum will be maintained. Okay. Therefore, the pressure gauge is also connected with the damper as shown in the figure. Now, another mounting which is also very essential, that is water level indicator. The water level in the boiler drum supposed to be within the limits. If it reduces or there is no water in the boiler drum, then the whole steam within it will increase the temperature, and hence the working of the boiler fails, as the fusible plug will fuse out and the working will stop. The whole steam will be released out. Therefore, water level indicator will be indicating the water level within the boiler drum. Now the feed valve. Feed valve is a valve shown here through which the feed water will be supplied to the boiler drum, whereby it will enter into the water tubes and get heated and steam is generated. The feed water that is supplied to the boiler drum will be treated feed water, because it is a water tube boiler, and in case of water tube boiler, what happens is the tubes, inside the tubes there should supposed to be they're supposed not to be scaling. The falling effect should not occur very frequently, because the cleaning of these tubes from inside will be quite difficult. Therefore, the treated water will be supplied through the feed valve. Now, stop valve is for the supply of steam till the steam reaches to its required quality or the quantity. The stop valve will be keeping the steam within the boiler drum, and once this reaches to the required quantity, then or wherever the application side, the steam is required. By operating the stop valve, the steam will be supplied to the application side. Therefore, you can understand, समझ रहे ना बच्चों आप लोग, कि इसमें से ऐसा कौन सी चीज है जिसके बगैर बॉयलर सही तौर पर वर्क कर सकेगा। यहाँ पर जो बॉयलर माउंटिंग्स हैं, बॉयलर की सेफ्टी के लिए, सेफ वर्किंग ऑफ बॉयलर के लिए ये पूरे के पूरे माउंटिंग्स एसेंशियल है। अगर इसमें से अगर कोई एक भी नहीं रहा, फॉर एग्जांपल प्रेशर गेज नहीं है, तो कहीं ऐसा अचानक ना हो जाए कि प्रेशर इनसाइड द बॉयलर ड्रम इंक्रीजेस सो मच दैट द बॉयलर में बस्ट आउट, ऐसा हो सकता है। या वाटर लेवल इंडिकेटर अगर नहीं है, अगर वाटर पूरा खत्म हो गया बॉयलर ड्रम में, तब क्या हो जाएगा, टेम्परेचर राइज होगा। टेम्परेचर राइज जब होंगे तो ऑटोमेटिकली फेल्यूर ऑफ बॉयलर, failure of working of the boiler, or fusible plug will fuse out, that will happen. In the same way, feed valve that is necessary for the supply of the feed, and stop valve that is necessary for the supply of steam, and safety valve which is working very its application is very important for safe working of the boiler. Therefore, you can understand sometimes what will be asked is differentiate between boiler mountings and accessories. Then what is the differentiation, you try to understand. समझ में आ रही बात? Mountings are very essential for safe working of the boiler, whereas boiler accessories, that means without boiler mountings we cannot run the boiler, whereas boiler accessories are there. These boiler accessories are essential for improving the efficiency of the boiler or improving the quality of steam supplied by the boiler. That means without the accessories also the boiler can run. But in order to improve the efficiency, to make the boiler more efficient and to improve the quality of steam supplied, we need the boiler accessories. That means here some of the boiler accessories are given here, and you can understand, whereas I will be explaining you one by one here, and you can understand that where and how we are improving the efficiency or the quality of steam. For example, the superheater is there. The various boiler accessories are given here: superheater, economizer, air preheater, and feed pump. Okay. Superheater. What is the purpose of this superheater in the boiler? By having the superheater, we are able to improve the quality of steam, and superheated steam can be obtained for the load side. Are you able to understand? Without this, the steam which is collected over the water, that will remain wet steam only. Is it clear to you? Therefore, after collecting the steam in the boiler drum, the steam will be taken into the superheater, and that will be further heated. It will take some more heat from the gases of combustion, and then it will give out the superheated steam through the stop valve. Is it clear to you? That means superheater is used for improving the quality of steam to be supplied to the application. Economizer. Economizer is the waste heat recovering device. Waste heat recovering device. That means the gases of combustion, after exchanging its heat to the water in the boiler, as they are going out, before supplying it to the stack of chimney, it will be passed through the economizer, whereas in the economizer, through the tubes, the feed water will be flowing. Therefore, the feed water before supply to the boiler will be flowing in the economizer tubes. Therefore, these hot gases, which will be carrying some more heat with it, will exchange some of its heat to this economizer, in the economizer to the water, feed water, which is to be supplied to the boiler drum, and in this way some of the heat is recovered by these outgoing gases. Therefore, waste heat recovery it is carried out. Here waste heat recovery is carried out by using the economizer. And sometimes what happens is in the economizer, the feed water will be heated nearly up to the saturation temperature. And once it is supplied to the boiler, it will be taking the heat of evaporation when it is entering into the tubes, and heat of evaporation and getting converted into the steam. This is what happening. Therefore, the waste heat recovery when it is done, then definitely the efficiency of the boiler improves. In the same way, if you move to the air preheater, in the furnace for burning of coal, air is required, and this air will be supplied, okay, and this air supply, if passes over the tubes in which these outgoing gases are passing, then some of the heat it will take from these exhaust gases, and that air which is being supplied to the furnace will be heated up. Therefore, instead of taking this air, the initial heat from the furnace itself, it is get heated outside only, and nearly at the furnace temperature or a little below the furnace temperature, that air will be entering here. Therefore, in this way again some heat is recovered. Some heat saving will be done here in the furnace side, and some heat recovery is done in the air preheater. Therefore, again you can understand that air preheater will also be taking recovering some of the waste heat. That means both of these are nearly the same. In air preheater, what happens is air is exchanging heat from outgoing gases, that is waste heat recovery is done by air here. And in case of economizer, the feed water will be exchanging the waste heat, taking the waste heat from the gases of combustion going to the stack of the chimney. Is it clear to you? Therefore, in this way what is happening is efficiency. In both of these cases, the efficiency of the boiler is improved. For example, one more accessory is given here, feed pump. Sometimes the pressure of steam which is required at the application site is required to be sufficiently high. Then, to increase this pressure within the boiler drum, the water, that is the feed water that is supplied to the boiler drum, supposed to be at a higher pressure. For that purpose, the feed pump will be used, and hence the steam so generated will be at a higher pressure. Therefore, high pressure steam can be supplied to the load side. Is it clear to all of you? समझ में ही ना बात? That means whenever it is asked to compare the boiler mountings and accessories, or separately to define boiler mountings, to define boiler accessories, and to explain few of them, then you can move like this. Or differentiation you can make what are mountings and what are the accessories. Is it clear? सबके समझ में आ गई बात? Okay. With these few things, we are finishing your steam generators, that means the boilers. Now we will be starting the next chapter, that is the hydraulic turbines. And before starting the hydraulic turbines, what I would like to give you is some of the questions balance in the assignment 1. I will be giving you. You please take down. I am dictating as well as writing on the board. You please take down those questions, and in that way the assignment 1 you can finish off. Okay? Please take down the remaining questions of the assignment 1 on thermodynamics. Question number 1 you can take down. One, in that you take down A. आप लोग जो पहले क्वेश्चंस दिए हैं ना, एनर्जी सोर्सेज के जो क्वेश्चंस लिए हैं उसके आगे आप लोग थोड़े क्वेश्चंस और ले लीजिए थर्मोडायनामिक्स पे और फॉर्मेशन ऑफ स्टीम पे, तो उसमें कंटिन्यू कर लो असाइनमेंट नंबर 1 में. In that the number you continue, anyhow here I am writing number 1, okay, that you change the number as you have in that assignment. Question number 1, in that A bit define state process and types of systems. Take down B. State and explain zeroth law of thermodynamics. अच्छा बच्चों, आप लोगों को कोई तकलीफ तो नहीं हो रही ना ऑनलाइन क्लासेस की वजह से? अगर कोई भी तकलीफ हो रही, यू शेयर विथ मी. यू कैन मेक ए कॉल टू मी, यू कैन गिव ए मैसेज टू मी. पूरे सब्जेक्टों का इत्मीनान से आप लीजिए क्लास, क्योंकि ऑनलाइन होने की वजह से सिलेबस भी जल्दी ख़त्म होगा, फिर प्रिपरेशन होगा, फिर रिपीटेशन होगा, सब कुछ होता रहेगा इंशाल्लाह. तो इसलिए है नहीं, आप लोग कोई फिक्र करने की ज़रूरत नहीं. और अगर आपके फ्रेंड्स में से अगर कोई लिंकअप नहीं हुए हैं तो उनको प्लीज़ इन्फॉर्म करते जाओ और इत्मीनान से लो, किसी भी किस्म की कोई फिक्र की ज़रूरत नहीं. एंड आई होप दैट आप लोग अपनी फैमिली के साथ सेफली घर में होंगे और घर में बैठकर वक्त को बर्बाद मत करो. इत्मीनान से यू मेक यूज़ ऑफ द टाइम एंड प्रिपेयर इन ऑल द सब्जेक्ट्स. द सी बिट इन दिस, in a cyclic process, in a cyclic process 1 2 3 1, in a cyclic process 1 2 3 1, the values of Q12 is equal to 12 kilojoule, Q23 is equal to 15 kilojoule, and Q31 is equal to minus 8 kilojoule. Find W23, the work done during the process 2 to 3, that is W23. If W12 is equal to 10 kilojoule and W31 is equal to 8 kilojoule. Okay, is it clear to you? That means you have to find work done during the process 2 to 3. This is what? That means 1 2 3 1. This is a cyclic process, and this it is shown. Okay, all the 3 heats are given, 2 works are given, 1 work you have to find. Cyclic process, the first law of thermodynamics you have to apply. Okay, then the sigma q is equal to sigma w. Therefore, that one work which is unknown, that you can calculate immediately, but just by seeing you can tell how much it is. बोलो चलो क्या होता बोलो, W23 क्या होता? 27 minus 8 कितना हुआ? 19. यहाँ पर 19 होना था, कितना है? 18. तो वन सिंपल. बताइए, समझ लिया? Is it clear? Now, take down the question number 2. The question number 2, in that you take down a bit. What is the thermodynamic definition of work? List down the different forms of work. Okay, the B bit in the second question. State and explain first law of thermodynamics. State and explain the first law of thermodynamics. C bit. In a closed system, (15 kilojoule of heat, 15 kilojoule of heat is supplied to do to do 10 kilojoule of work. What is the value of change in internal energy? Change in internal energy. What is the value? Tell me. Change in internal energy. Work done is 10 kilojoule. Heat supplied is 15 kilojoule. Change in internal energy is that difference. 5 kilojoule. That's all. Orally you can say. Okay. Take down the next. Question number 3. State and explain. 3A. State and explain the two statements of second law of thermodynamics. Second law of thermodynamics. What are those two statements? Kelvin-Planck's statement and the Clausius statement. Both the statements you state and explain them, taking some example. In the Kelvin-Planck statement, you are supposed to take down the example of theorem 2, or you can take down the example of heat engine, and in that you can show. Okay. And in the Clausius statement again, you can take down the example of some refrigerator or heat pump and you explain it. B. Define one. Internal energy. Two. Enthalpy. Three. Entropy. C between this question number 3. 5 kg of air at 15 kilopascal (150 kilopascal). You take them. 5 kg of air at 150 kilopascal is expanded from 0.1 meter cube to 0.3 meter cube at constant pressure. Find one. Work done. Two. Change in internal energy. Three. Change in enthalpy. Enthalpy. Take R is equal to 0.4 kilojoule per kg Kelvin and gamma is equal to 1.4 for A. The air which is applied, for that the R value, the characteristic gas constant and the gamma value are given. R you know Cp minus Cv, gamma you know Cp by Cv. From these two we are able to get the values of Cp as well as Cv. And once we get Cp and Cv values, then we are able to get the internal energy, change in internal energy and change in enthalpy. Change in internal energy is mCv delta T and change in enthalpy is mCp delta T. Okay, the mass is given here, right? Now this expansion process is taken at constant pressure. That means P1 is equal to P2 is equal to 150 kilopascal and volumes are given. Then temperature T1 and temperature T2 can also be obtained, because P1 V1 by T1 is equal to P2 V2 by T2, P1 P2 are same, therefore V1 by T1 is equal to V2 by T2. Okay, but here the work done you can determine by taking this pressure and change in volume. You will get the work done. But for getting the change in internal energy and change in enthalpy, what is not available here? At least any one of the temperature is required to get change in internal energy or the enthalpy. Therefore, and initial temperature of air and initial temperature of air is 0 degrees centigrade. With this and with this, you can make calculation of all the values asked. Okay, is it clear to you? Now, take on the question number 4. For a bit, differentiate heat and work. B bit, state and explain the third law of thermodynamics. The third law of thermodynamics. Then C bit you can take down. 2 kg of gas, 2 kg of gas at 1 bar is heated at constant volume by supplying 12 kilojoule of heat. Find work done change in internal energy and change in enthalpy take Cp is equal to 1 kilojoule per kg Kelvin and Cv is equal to 0.7 kilojoule per kg Kelvin. 2 kg of gas at 1 bar and 15 degrees centigrade missing. Okay, 2 kg of gas, you take down like this. 2 kg of gas at how much? 1 bar, no? 1 bar and 15 degrees centigrade is heated. 1 bar and 15 degrees centigrade is heated at constant volume by supplying 12 kJ of heat. Change in internal energy and change in enthalpy. Take Cp as this one. Then take down the question number 5. Explain different qualities of steam and their formation. Fire A. Explain different qualities of steam and their formation. Define number 1 dryness fraction, 2 degree of superheat, 3 dry saturated steam, C 2 kg of %90 dry steam at 5 bar. 2 kg of 90% dry steam at 5 bar is supplied. Find number 1 internal energy, 2 enthalpy, 3 entropy. Question number 6. A. A sample of steam at 2 bar with specific volume .8 meter cube per kg is supplied. Determine its quality, and work of evaporation. B. Five kg of a sample of steam at 2 bar and 150 degrees centigrade is supplied. What is its quality? Its quality and determine number 1, internal energy, number 2, enthalpy. With this we are finishing your assignment number 1. The assignment 2 questions I will be giving you, but before that I would like to take down the hydraulic turbines in the next class. Thank you very much.